Hi there! Welcome to my channel. My name is Annie and I am what you might call a book enthusiast. Today I'm here to talk to you about audiobooks and why you should be reading them, as well as where, when, and how to listen to optimize your audiobook listening experience, as well as some recommendations for audiobooks and audiobook narrators that you should listen to. So, first of all, why audiobooks? Let me tell you. First of all, listening to audiobooks makes boring tasks more interesting. Why do your chores and work out to silence when you could listen to an audiobook? 2, it is a great way to get more reading in. I read over 100 books last year. I want to say 114, maybe it was 140, but I did not read all of those books by sitting down in a chair and reading all of those books. I listened to audiobooks when I was doing other things, and that is how I listened to, not all of them. Not all of the books I read were audiobooks, but that is one way that I was able to accomplish reading so many books. So if you are someone like me and you have a long list of books that you want to read, audiobooks are a great way to fit more books in. 3, a good audiobook narrator can add so much to the story. It's so much easier to get immersed into the story when you have a good audiobook narrator narrating it for you. You can sit back, close your eyes, visualize the setting, and listen to the audiobook narrator tell you the story. It's a nice feeling sometimes just to be read to instead of having to read yourself all the time. Number 4, it can help with pronunciation. And if you've been around my channel for a while, you know my pronunciation could use some work. Listening to an audiobook helps you to hear, especially like fantasy or books set in a foreign setting where all of the names and places don't have familiar names. Audiobooks can help you know how to pronounce those words. Next up, how can I listen to an audiobook? I hear people say that they struggle to listen to audiobooks sometimes, that they don't have the attention span to sit down and listen to an audiobook. Well, I'll give you some tips that I think could be helpful for listening to audiobooks. The first tip is it's a skill that needs to be practiced like anything else. You wouldn't expect to be good at anything else the first time you try, or maybe you do, but you will get better with practice, and I think audiobooks are no different. The kind of attention span that it requires is just a different skill that can be learned. 2, find your listening speed. Did you know that you can adjust the listening speed on a lot of audiobook platforms? So you can listen at regular speed or slower or faster. So for me, it's easier to listen to a book a little bit faster than the regular speed that it comes at, because that's more of a conversational pace, and it's a pace that my brain is more used to paying attention to. It's also closer to the speed that I would read a physical book at, and so again, it's easier for my brain to pay attention at that speed. So I would suggest starting at the regular ×1 audio speed, and then if that feels too fast, you can slow it down, or more likely it'll feel too slow and you can speed it up by like a quarter each time. So you can move it up to 1.25, then up to 1.5, then up to 1.75. Some apps even allow you to fine tune it even more than that. And my third tip for being able to pay attention during an audiobook is to do something with your hands. Have you ever been sitting listening to an audiobook and then you realize you're not listening anymore and you don't know what happened because you started scrolling on Instagram? Yeah, me too. So I have a terrible habit that I'm just sitting still, not doing anything. My hands are gonna pick up my phone and look at Instagram. I don't know if that's everyone's problem. Some people, maybe it's looking at the news or Facebook or TikTok or whatever. If you are tempted to scroll on your phone while listening to an audiobook, then my tip for you is to do something else with your hands. So that leads to the next point of the video: when to listen to audiobooks. What can you do with your hands while you're listening? Here's some ideas. Exercise, walking, puzzles, crafting, folding laundry, washing dishes, driving, doing your makeup, doing your hair, counting grains of rice. Okay, but no, in all seriousness, when to listen to audiobooks, it's really up to you. Those are, for the most part, all real times that I listen to audiobooks. I also, though, I want to be present in my daily life, so I don't listen to audiobooks while I do everything. Those are just some ideas. I have a son and I have a husband, and so if I'm around them, I don't want to put in audiobooks and tune out my life. But when I am working out or going for a walk, those are things that I do by myself. Folding laundry, I don't usually like my son to be around because he's going to rip apart the laundry anyway. So I'll turn on an audiobook then, or if it's ever like TV time for my son, I'm a stay-at-home mom, then while he's watching TV and I'm getting things done, I will put an audiobook on. So for you, you'll have to find your own balance of when you want to listen to audiobooks without feeling like you're always tuning out your regular life. But those are some ideas. The next point of the video is where can you listen to audiobooks? Like not just like where physically, but like where can you get the books? There are so many different platforms for audiobooks. If you look around, you can see which ones work the best for you, but I'm going to talk about the two that I personally use. The first is audiobooks.com. There is an app for that, and you can have a membership on the app. I believe every month you get one book that you can choose, like any book from their library, and you also get one book from like an extra book library, and every month the selection changes. That's a really good deal because it's kind of like 2 audiobooks for the price of 1. So I like to do that so that I can listen to more than 1 audiobook for the price of 1. They also have a cool thing where you can use your credit for the month, like your audiobook credit. Instead of getting 1 book, you can join a book club, which has like a whole list of books that you can listen to, and so you can listen unlimitedly to that book club that you selected for that month. I also just like the navigation of it and the look of it, and so that's one that I like to use. If you're interested in using audiobook.com, I have a link where you can sign up and get your first 30 days for free, as well as 3 free audiobook credits. So check out the link if you're interested in trying it out. I also utilize Libby a lot. So Libby is through my library system. You can check your library system to see if they have Libby. Some libraries have a different platform that they use, but Libby is what my library uses, and I love Libby. They used to use a different platform that I was not a fan of. It was kept on crashing and it wasn't as easily navigatable, but Libby is so easy to use and I'm obsessed. So I would encourage you to look and see if your library system has a platform like Libby where you can just borrow the books on your phone. You don't even have to go into the library. You might have to go in to set up your library card, but then once you have a library card, you borrow everything right straight from your phone. Now, popular audiobook narrators. The number 1 narrator that you're gonna hear if you ask someone about audiobook narrators is Julia Whelan. She is an amazing audiobook narrator and she narrates a lot of the most popular books.
Hello, this is Therese Plummer.
I also love Therese Plummer. She is one of my favorite audiobook narrators. She narrated Things You Save in a Fire, and she did a phenomenal job. So I would recommend her as a place to start as well. And then for book recommendations, these are some of my favorite audiobooks. Unbroken, which is sort of a like dramatized biography. It's based on the real life events of Louis Zamperini, who was an Olympic athlete who served in World War II. A lot of wild things happened to him that are hard to believe, and it's just an amazing story of his unbreakable spirit. Next is Educated. It is a memoir by a girl who came from like an ultra fundamentalist background, and she decided to break free from that background and receive an education. And it was a very powerful memoir. Nevermore, if you're looking for a middle grade fantasy. Middle grade is aimed at a younger audience, but I enjoyed it as an adult. It's just very magical and like warms your heart, and the magic is a ton of fun. Nevermore is the first in a series that is ongoing. The 4th book is coming out this fall. Next is The Measure, which is a speculative fiction about one day boxes just appear on everyone's doorstep that have a string in them, that if the string is short, you indicates you'll live for a short amount of time. If it's long, you'll live for a long amount of time. So it follows all of the effects that would have on society and the question of would you look and see how long your string was. That book captivated me from the very first sentence until the very last page. It was phenomenal. Things You Save in a Fire, I mentioned that before. That by written by Catherine Center, narrated by Therese Plummer. If you're looking for a romance, that one is lovely. It's a romance book that is closed door. You might want to check content warnings if you are concerned about there's some heavy content in them, but it is really fun about a woman who is a firefighter and sort of a forbidden workplace romance. The No-Show. This one is a audiobook that has different narrators for every point of view, and one of them is the girl who played Luna Lovegood in Harry Potter. And it was a really enjoyable book to listen to on audiobook. I think technically it might be placed under the romance genre, but it also had friendships and mystery. It was just a really enjoyable book. The last recommendation I have for you is Daisy Jones and the Six. This is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one we've got a different voice actor for every character in the series, and it's already, the way the book is written is like kind of like in a documentary style, and so it just is perfectly suited for audiobook. So that's all my recommendations for audiobooks and all of my recommendations how to optimize your audiobook listening experience. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I hope you check back and check out my other videos soon. Thanks. Bye.